Hey guys, Karl here, back with another quick unboxing of the brand new 12.9-inch iPad Pro, the second item from Apple's spring-loaded event. In case you missed my video yesterday, it's of the orange iMac. I'll leave it linked up this way. Make sure you check that out after this video, but if you could just smash the like button and leave a comment, it just helps with the YouTube algorithm. Let's get to what we've got for the iPad Pro, and you can see we have a brand new box design, so it's got a cool new wallpaper on the front. That has in part to do with the Liquid Retina XDR display, and on the smaller 11-inch, that just has the regular Liquid Retina, no XDR. So this has, of course, 1,000 nits of brightness, 1,000,000:1 contrast ratios, and is actually very similar to the Pro Display XDR, which you see kind of over my shoulder. But let's see what's inside of the box. I have the max spec model here. So this thing has a terabyte. It's, of course, with Wi-Fi and cellular. It starts at $1099 with 128 gigs of storage. I wish Apple would at least bump that up to the minimum of 256, but this exact spec is $2,000 as it's got cellular. It's a lot of money. Let's see though if it is worth it. You can see that I went for the silver option. It comes in either this or space gray, and I feel like space gray is a bit old news. I think we've had that for a couple years now. Switching back to the silver, it's the OG color. It matches the Pro Display XDR, like I said. We'll quickly take this out. We'll put that off to the side, and inside of the box, very standard Apple stuff, so designed by California in Apple. You've got a 20-watt charger and a USB-C cable. It's still refreshing to see Apple deciding to keep a cable inside of the iPad box, unlike the iPhones. User manuals, warranty info white, large Apple stickers, and if you've got the Wi-Fi/cellular, you'll get a little SIM card slot tool. That's the unboxing. Pressing the top and bottom volume rocker, you can see the iPad starts to power on. And as this boots up, it actually has a very similar / identical form factor to the older gen iPad Pro. So we've got the same bezel sizes, the same flat back, and of course the squared edge design. So now all of Apple's mobile devices have the same form factor. They're all kind of uniform across the board. I will quickly set this up, English. And with all Apple stuff, setup is super simple, so you can either choose to set this up manually or just bring an older iPad / iPhone with the latest iOS to kind of boot it up and match it. And just like that, we've got the 12.9-inch iPad setup, and I almost forget how large this display is. So personally, I am still using my older iPad Pro. I think this has been out now for 2-ish years. And the reason why I've stuck with this one is for that ProMotion display. So that's the 120 Hz refresh rate. Thankfully, this iPad still has that. I wouldn't see why they would downgrade to another one. And obviously with this new display, it is just simply gorgeous. It is by far the best display on any tablet and probably close to any monitor as well. Like I said, it kind of mimics what we've got on the Pro Display XDR. You get a standard 1,000 nits of brightness across the board, and it can peak up to 1,600. P3 wide color gamut, and it's able to do that because it's powered by over 10,000 mini LEDs into this display, into something so small, and still keeps a very slim form factor. It's actually super impressive what they managed to fit into this type of form factor. And like I said, if you still choose to go for the smaller 11-inch iPad Pro, that peaks at 600 nits of brightness. It doesn't have that XDR name. You'll still get True Tone, you'll still get ProMotion, and honestly, it still looks great unless you're really using a lot of HDR content, and if you really want to match your workflow with, say, the Pro Display XDR, the 11-inch is still great. New also to the iPad Pro, just like we see in the iMac, this is kind of becoming uniform across all of Apple's products. It now has the M1 architecture, which is pretty crazy to think that a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air, a fully dedicated laptop, has the same chip inside of a tablet. And I think what Apple is doing here, they're trying to get people that can justify getting an iPad as their sole device to move away, say, from a MacBook or a MacBook Pro. Depending on which spec you can get this one, say, for close to $2,000. You wouldn't want to have this plus a MacBook Air, a MacBook Pro. That's close to $4,000 in goodies. I think for a lot of people, you can get solely by on the iPad. You can see the performance benchmarks on Geekbench. They kind of blow everything else out. Of course, that's standard across the M1 line. We've also got a new 12 megapixel front-facing camera with true depth, and it also has something called center stage. So we can actually go into an ultra-wide view, and if you're, say, doing FaceTime with some friends, you're actually moving from location to location. the camera will actually shift slightly to keep you in frame and almost track you. So if you're using this a ton for Zoom/FaceTime calls, maybe even for a content creator, that could be kind of dope. I still find it a bit weird if you are that person walking around taking photos with an iPad, but maybe that is becoming the norm, sadly. On the back, the camera sensors have a very familiar setup. So we've got a 12 megapixel wide, 10 megapixel ultra wide, as well as the LiDAR scanner. So great for doing any AR work. Port-wise, we've just got the one still on the bottom, so USB-C/Thunderbolt, so you can natively use this on the Pro Display XDR, like I mentioned, / any other monitor, and you can also use this as sidecar if you've already got the MacBook Pro, any sort of Apple computer to kind of keep within that Apple ecosystem, which I think is, one of Apple's biggest strengths. But yeah, that's kind of being the brand new 12.9-inch iPad Pro. Let me know if you have any questions around my full review. I know a lot of people are wondering, can you get by solely on this device? And I know a lot of professionals will be eyeing this just because it has such an awesome display to match something like what you've got behind me. But just remember, if you want to grab this, it is a pricey tablet, especially when you need to add on accessories like the Apple Pencil, $129, and the new $350 Magic Keyboard. Separate video coming on this, but just a quick little note, unfortunately, if you have the previous gen, so the 4th gen iPad Pro Magic Keyboard, it sadly no longer works with the 5th gen, so you'll need to buy a new one. Apple always seems to break the wallet. If you guys enjoyed this video though, we'll catch the rest of you in one of my next ones. Peace!